Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with another Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. And it is episodes 108, 109, and 110. Yes, you are literally getting three, you can see my fingers there, episodes rolled into one. These episodes are written by Ron Sproat, directed by Leela Swift. Uh, you get a bit of a replay of Victoria Winters going to the old house and Matthew Morgan trying to kill her with the stone urn, pushing it and it just landing at her feet. Vicky runs and she runs into Matthew Morgan's cottage, not knowing who tried to just kill her, not knowing that it was Matthew. So we're in Matthew Morgan's cottage, and credits are post credits rolling, and she wants to call the sheriff. And Matthew is kind of 20 questioner, like, why you want to call the sheriff for? She said someone tried to kill me, and Matthew says no member of the Collins family would do that. So he stops her from not just calling but from leaving. Here is rewatch the episode here. I think Fair David is just such a more menacing Matthew Morgan. And I think really, if you want to really start where he's more menacing, number one, not just talking his size, he's somewhat of a big dude, but more so his presence. And I'm not saying the other guy didn't do a good job. He did. But with Fair David, it makes sense to cast someone who, looks a little more younger, not as old. And Matthew is a suspect pretty early on in the viewer's mind, in my mind anyway. If you've never watched, for those who have never watched Dark Shadows, before I continue into these episodes, understand this, that I said the first episode, 100 episodes is a search for answers. Here's the thing. It continues to be that. I mean, Dark Shadows has, whether it's Victoria searching for her lineage, whether it's Carolyn searching for answers about her dad, whether it's Carolyn searching for, whether it's Carolyn's mother searching for her husband, or David searching for companionship, you have this search continue. Even in this, they're getting ready. This episode is the reveal of who killed Bill Malloy officially, really, though I would say the previous episode kind of tells you who killed Bill Malloy, more Matthew Morgan. But here they're going to do it in the official capacity. And they're having this conversation, in Matthew's cottage. Matthew was the first person who he's the person who pushed the Bill Malloy's body back into the water. He's the person who lied about it. And from a character standpoint, you have to understand characters are all about direction. What direction do you want to take each individual character? And is it such a narrow choice, or is it a choice? How do you not reveal it to your audience? Well, it's simple. You just take a bunch of other characters who have other motives and you make them the focus. Mysteries are often done certain ways. They're either you have an idea of who the killer is and you've got your own suspect list and to who they've said, or you don't have, or your suspect list is very limited. For example, Great Murder Mystery is the original Friday the 13th. It's a murder mystery. It's a whodunit, in every way. I know there are people who don't like slasher violence, and that's fine. You more have here a case of loyalty, a case of misguided loyalty, if you will. Matthew, he doesn't want any trouble for Mrs. Stoddard. He doesn't want anybody to bother her. Yes, Matthew Morgan is in love with Mrs. Stoddard. Joan Bennett's a beautiful woman. What can I say? So, and with murder mysteries, you also have those suspects who are questioned, and sort of you're sort of focused on them. And that's something Dark Shadows does here too, by the way. Dark Shadows, for to build up to this moment, has been giving you certain suspects, okay, before the pen thing gets involved in this. Well, even after, sorry, after the pen gets involved. Roger, even Sam's a suspect. They question Burke, but is Burke really a suspect? No, he's not. The audience knows he did not kill Bill Malloy. Um, though they have, the writers do have a little fun teasing it, but it's not much of a tease if you know, right? So your two primary focus suspects in front of the camera that they want you to focus on from a writer standpoint is Roger and Sam. Where can you focus on Matthew? The episode where Vicky, it's after Vicky and Carolyn see the body, and Matthew Morgan says he went down there and it was just a clunk of seaweed. Um, Matthew is lying. It wasn't a clunk of seaweed, and Liz knows he's lying. Liz kind of, her spidey sense is up, and she goes, "Come on, Matthew, I've known you. You took way too long to answer some of those questions. You sort of hesitated." And he says it was he confesses that he pushed the body of Bill Malloy back into the ocean. That right there makes Matthew a suspect. You might say is it as strong as Roger's motives or Sam's? Here's I would say, as much as I love Dark Shadows, but as much as I love it, I got to say, no, it's not. But a sense of misguided loyalty led them to this selection. It led them to this choice, if you will. Okay, we're going to take Matthew Morgan. We're going to make him our killer. We're going to make him our guy because, hey, we've planted at least enough of a seed to execute that, if you will. Okay, we've had Matthew Morgan push the body back into the water. We've had Matthew be paranoid about Victoria Winters well before this body got pushed back into the water. He told Victoria Winters, "Don't be causing trouble for Mrs. Stoddard." Well, to Matthew Morgan, trouble varies. The word trouble varies for him. And so anything that he feels, whether it's the sheriff questioning Mrs. Stoddard, whether it's another person bothering Mrs. Stoddard, a la Bill Malloy, he feels that is causing problems for Mrs. Stoddard. Whether Mrs. Stoddard feels it's causing problems for her is another matter. This isn't about Mrs. Stoddard from that standpoint. This is about Mrs. Stoddard from Matthew Morgan's standpoint. And to Matthew Morgan, God damn it, he's going to prevent anybody from causing trouble for Mrs. Stoddard. So we're going to continue to watch this episode now. Okay, so Matthew is saying you got some foolish notion that Mr. Collins killed Malloy. And she's saying about the pen went missing. How did it turn up? The sheriff and Burke Devlin found it. He asked why they were up here. He only passed Mrs. Stoddard in the hall. You also, that's another thing you got to understand too. With whodunits, you might say, do you actually see Matthew Morgan eavesdropping on conversations? Yes and no. You do see Matthew Morgan eavesdropping on a conversation because he sneaks upon David, eavesdropping in on a conversation. But also with murder mysteries, they're not going to show you specifically a character always listening in on something. You sort of have, because often enough times the drawing room doors of Collinwood aren't closed. They leave them open. And anybody could be walking out in that foyer through the kitchen and stop and take a listen. That's sort of the idea here. It's sort of, this is where you sort of get into suspension of disbelief, if you will, a suspension of, okay, you have to believe that at some point Matthew Morgan eavesdropped on certain conversations, but did he always know? For example, he did not know at first that Victoria saw the ghost of Bill Malloy and talked to the ghost of Bill Malloy. He was told about it. Who was he told about it by? David. Okay. So you eliminate that way too. Instead of just Matthew eavesdropping on a conversation that he overheard, somebody actually informed him on something, and that somebody was David Collins, because David didn't see the harm. David talks to David. David and Carolyn are your gossip king and queens, if you will. Roger too. So you have that go on too. It's really well done. And Matthew says he dragged Devlin into his suit. She said someone tried to kill me. Victoria has been adamant that somebody has been trying to kill her for the past 2 episodes now. It couldn't have been Mr. Collins. Matthew says he wouldn't have done that. Matthew says, well, I don't know. She says he could have been in cahoots with somebody, or what? Or someone else is guilty. Victoria says here, someone I don't even know about. So who, for instance? I don't know. That's going to be a line that sort of haunts the character Victoria Winters. I don't know. Well, how is she supposed to know? She's not a detective, okay? David is telling to Liz what he thinks. He tells her to go in the kitchen. Miss Johnson fix him a sandwich. He says, "I'm not hungry." I love how the characters, because you do hear the wind howling a bit for a fact. I love how the characters sell the cold outside. Somebody's always wearing a jacket from the outside coming in. Liz has the window open. She's wearing a long sleeve dress. And here's a question. Okay, were all dresses long sleeve? I'd like to think not. They couldn't have been, right? I mean, back in the 60s. I don't mean now. I know now you see like short sleeve dresses. Like, and here's Frank Gardner. He had a dinner date with Vicky. And Liz says she asked her to go to the old house, but she should be back soon. Uh, David came in a few minutes ago. Vicky hasn't yet. Now Liz is getting worried. She says about 20 minutes. It doesn't take more than 5 to go up and there and back. So you're hearing officially that it only takes 5 minutes to go to the old house and back. That's on foot. That's Barnabas's quickness for you too. When Barnabas arrives later on, 5 minutes, folks. I want you to think about that. 5 minutes. Frank Gardner is worried about Victoria Winters. This is a great facial sell job by Frank, that he's worried about Vicky. And Mrs. Stoddard's getting her fur coat on. She grabs a flashlight, and her and Frank are headed out the house to go search for Victoria Winters. The search is on, folks. The search is on. I love the shot of the doors of the outside of Collinwood. The little tree is shaking back and forth because of the wind. Great job. And I love this pan camera shot by Leela here from the drawing room to now the doors. They went out and they're coming back in. Vicky, are you here? So they've been to the old house and back. That means it's been 5 minutes. You may not have seen them go at the old house, but 5 minutes has gone past in a literal episode. And they're back here at Collinwood talking where she could be, because Elizabeth came in hollering for her. Vicky's not response. Let me make a phone call. There's one place she should be. We're at our caretaker's cottage. Matthew. So she does that. Called Matthew a while ago and search for David. Um, yeah, she did. That was in the prior episode. I think you've got a lot of foolish ideas. No one around here would want to harm you. Um, I didn't imagine anything. Those things happen. The phone's ringing. Yeah, yeah. David's back in the house. Have you? Have you? I haven't seen her. Miss seemed to have disappeared. Look around the grounds. I haven't. Yes, Matthew. And he says, I haven't seen. Why did Miss? What did Miss Starr? She asked me if I found David. I told her I hadn't. You said her. What her? You talking about me? No. Who was it? Miss Carolyn? Why did she want to Miss Carolyn? If I'd seen her, she knows where Carolyn is. She went into town to be with a friend to get her out of the house. She's expecting Carolyn back till late. I wouldn't know anything about it. Are you sure she wasn't talking about me? Asking if you'd see me. No, no, I wouldn't lie to Miss Starter. Though this is not true. Matthew had lied to Liz before, and I think too by Joan's reaction, I think she kind of knows Matthew lied to her, or at least suspects Matthew may have lied to her. Remember, it didn't take her long to catch Matthew in a lie previously, so it might not take her long at all to catch him in another lie. Here, it's the actors and actresses of Dark Shadows do not get enough credit for selling with their face, or as my buddy Patrick McRae has told me, well, they do a great job with it. Um, Matthew's still trying to convince her that somebody trying to kill her is her imagination. And she says, I know it wasn't my imagination. Things fall from the old house. It could happen. The car, she said, the car tried to run me off the road. That wasn't my imagination. Probably that was an accident too. The driver didn't see you. He saw me all right. He came right at me. And now Vicky knows who tried to kill her because Matthew just admitted 8 p.m. And Matthew says, what were you doing on a lonely stretch road that time of night? And Vicky looks back at him like, oh no, how did you know? uh, he knew because he's the one who tried to kill you, Vicky. And now she knows. No, I don't. I said the car tried to run me down last night. I didn't say what time it was. Just last night. Miss Sauter must have said something about it. You told me that she hadn't spoke to you all day, so she's catching Matthew in his own lies now. Vicky's playing her own little detective now, and rightfully so. She's, she says, I didn't know what she was talking about. And Vicky's scared now. She should be. You don't believe me, do you? Yes, I believe you. I'm not looking any peculiar way. You think I killed him? Well, no. You're going to sheriff, tell him, no, I'm not. I'm not going to let you. Matthew grabs Vicky. And she says, I can't. Dramatic music. This is music you hear even throughout Dark Shadows in the beginning. We get a close up of Frank coming back. He's pacing in the drawing room. Liz is standing at the entryway. I keep expecting Vic to walk in. It's been over 20 minutes since they phoned the sheriff. There's knocking. It's probably the sheriff now. And here is Sheriff George Patterson, played by Dana Elker. Hello, Mrs. Stoddard. Hello, Mr. Gardner. What's this about Miss Winters? She's disappeared. She left the house an hour ago. She's not back. They tell him she went down to the old house, look for David. What about David? He came back. Could she go to come? And they say no. She had an engagement with Frank. Vicky knew Frank was coming to the house. That's the extent of the conversation, especially last night. Well, my deputy's outside. She's on a property. They're going to now, the police, the Collinsport Police Department, are going to search for Victoria Winters. And I'm going to tell you right now, on a searching ability, the Collinsport Police are horrible. The Collinsport Police Department have one great efficiency. They're good at shooting people. They're really good at shooting people. Frank is left inside Collinwood as they scour the ground, as the police scour the grounds. You might say, but who finds Victoria Winters? The one woman who can find Victoria Winters, Elizabeth. Guys, I teased it for you. It's Elizabeth. If you've never seen this episode, Joan Bennett to the rescue. Joan Bennett to the rescue. Elizabeth. Why not? I mean, Matthew's loyal to, not in this episode, though. Not in this episode. We don't get that in this episode, but we do. This is our reveal, right? Matthew killed Bill Malloy. I don't. Why would you kill Bill Malloy? Now Vicky's trying to put doubt in Matthew's mind that she doesn't think he killed Bill Malloy. She knows. Come on, she knows. She's trying to. People think 1795 Victoria Winters is the first time Victoria's lied. That's not true. Victoria has lied at times through this series to get out of things. We've seen Victoria have that heel trait because lying is a heel trait. So for those who said Vicky Alexander could never be a heel, why does she? And you might say, well, she tells a lie to be more relatable and more human. Yes, she does. But the reason she tells those lies so easily is because why? Because everybody has a heel tendency. That's in every character ever created. It really is. She says, I don't have any wild ideas. I told you I can't let you go. So you really have great character interaction here by Thayer David, by Alexander Moltke. Great job. I can't commend them enough and how the characters have sold their asses off here and done a great job. I've got some whiskey over here. I'll sip it for you. And she goes through the door again. She gets caught by Matthew. You were lying to me. You do think I killed Bill Malloy? No, I don't. I had to, she says. And now, Vicky knows for sure. I had to. He says, I had to kill Bill Malloy. I had no choice. So you get the confession of a lifetime, right? Bottled up in me so long. I love how Thayer David is fidgeting with his fingers here. I'm not sure. They're going to miss me back. They're searching all over. You have to let me go. You have to let me go. That's what Vicky says. He's like shaking his head. No, I don't. I don't have to let you go. I have to kill you. And that's the end of these episodes. Great job. Just great reveal. And it leaves you wondering, okay, why did he kill Bill Malloy? A sense of loyalty, a sense of misplaced guided loyalty. We're not talking about Jason Voorhees here or Michael Myers or any slasher you've ever heard of. This is just a simple, misguided, loyal person. And a great job by Thayer David. I mean, what range? The guy was a great actor. link to this episode will be in the description box. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.